There goes my hero. Dun-dun-dun. There goes my hero. Dwayne and Samuel Jackson falling from the sky. There goes my hero. The other guys review here on Fog Entertainment, and I have to say, this movie features one of the greatest death scenes I've ever seen, right? But anyway, we kick off the movie, we're in hot pursuit, we're in New York, the NYPD, we have got dancing, and the big man, PK Highsmith, played by Dwayne Johnson and Samuel Jackson. I mean, it's weird because on Netflix, these two aren't even credited. You've got Will Ferrell, Mark Wahlberg, and Eva Mendes. So you're sitting there thinking, this is weird. And like, they're not on the posters or nothing. I knew they were in it, right? Once you established they're in it, so I'm thinking, maybe they just disappear or something. But I had no idea what was going to happen next. But they managed to catch these guys. He drives the car straight through, and I thought it was funny when they were like, was it worth causing 12 million of property damage just for, a routine traffic stop with a guy had marijuana or something? And they're like, yeah, hell yeah. And then they come in, basically give a pep talk. We don't do paperwork. We have sex with women because we don't like it, but we have to. Because you guys wouldn't do it, but you guys do the paperwork. Basically making fun of everyone else in the department, which I liked. And then Mark Wahlberg's character, Terry, goes up to Alan and basically says to him, right, we need to up our game here and we need to be great. But Terry, of course, got jobbed out because he actually shot one of the, I think it was the Knicks, one of the, I don't know, was it baseball or something? You know what they're like, man, in America. They all support the one team because they're all a bunch of fucking weirdos. But anyway, I digress. Believe that. So they shot one of their star men. He's basically been banished to a desk job with Alan because of that, which I thought was pretty funny. And they've got their Captain Gene, which Alan keeps referring to as Gene. He's like, Captain Gene. How come he doesn't get to call you Captain when the DA comes in, which I thought was pretty funny. But yeah, we also get introduced to Steve Coogan's character, David Orson, which is basically what Alan's been working at, I guess, so to speak. It's basically a construction fraud, and it turns out to be like the main plot of the movie, which I thought was alright. But let's be real, this is where this movie peaked, guys, because we get a robbery at some jewelry shop. So Dancing and Highsmith head down, they start chasing the bad guys, we get into a gunfight, they get to the bad guys, though, they're badass, they escape via a zip line. And then Dancing and Highsmith get to the edge of the building, and they're discussing, like, shit, these guys are fucking badass, what we're going to do is, like, aim for the bushes. I got you, partner, let's do this. And then, there goes my hero. I believe Foo Fighters sang that song. It was a badass song, right? And I was like, this building's quite high, it's like 20 stories. And then as they jumped, I'm like, it's literally just New York, like, streets. There's no, like, there's no pool. I know he said aim for the bushes. There's no, like, really high trees or whatever. It's just, they could hit the deck and die. And I was in complete disbelief, honestly. Like, not much stuff surprises me in movies these days. I mean, you've kind of seen everything, you know what I mean? But, you know what, this was epic. This got a pop out of me. I found this fucking brilliant. And then you get the bagpipes playing, you get their funeral. Oh, man. I thought that this was honestly one of the greatest movie scenes of all time, man. No, I'll be honest, the movie does go a wee bit downhill after this because you've just lost The Rock and Samuel Jackson, but for how worth it that this scene was, I have no complaints. You do get a Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg movie with Will Ferrell not being completely retarded. He's more like, he's more, like book smart than street smart. Well, Mark Wahlberg's like, street smart, so which makes for a very good combination. But basically they try and go under that case. They step on a few shoes on the way today and that, trying to become basically what Samuel Jackson, The Rock's characters were. Badass and great, but will anything happen to that? Probably not, but of course they're competing with other guys in their department, which leads to some very funny dialogue. Prius ends up getting hijacked when he drives it to the scene of a crime, cocaine all over it. Hobos have a gangbang inside it, which I thought was pretty funny. And I have to say, like, the comedy is very tame. to what you'd expect in other, like I watched Step Brothers just before this, and obviously, I mean, it is to do with two literal retards, so I'm not expecting it to be. I mean, it can't be the same sort of exact sort of movie, but I do feel like Daddy's Home was better from a comedic standpoint. I mean, I think this just has like a better actual story. But then we meet his wife, which is played by Eva Mendes, and Mark Wahlberg. Terry literally just can't believe that he's bagged himself a hottie, but then his ex-girlfriend turns out to be hot as well. It turns out he used to be a pimp, essentially. A pimp. In college, which, I mean, it's not really explained why that's how he met these things, but I guess it kind of makes sense because throughout the movie, just everyone is into Will Ferrell and his cute wee science glasses, so to speak. But in the end, they manage to solve everything. They kidnap Steve Coogan's character, like, guy, mate. He gets arrested. They bring the whole thing down. The police turn up at the bit in New York with the golf. Basically, I only know that for GTA, and it's funny. Where'd you learn to drive? Grand Theft Auto. Brilliant. We Will Ferrell playing Grand Theft Auto 4 in New York. That's exactly what I like to see, guys. But, you know, it turns into a pretty generic cop movie, good comedy cop movie after those two die. But you know what? I've no real complaints, but it's still funny. I mean, I'll remember that till I die, those two jumping off that roof, honestly. I've never seen it before. Fucking iconic, epic. The fact it was Samuel Jackson, The Rock, it just made it even better. And for that reason, guys, I'm going to give this movie a solid 7 out of 10. So until next time, peace.